Supergirl Season 4, Episode 9, titled Elseworlds Part 3, and this is the final part of this year's Arrowverse crossover. And I will say this, it's a nice little wrap up. There's some cool moments in this. And I mean, here's the thing. This is pretty much, and because of the final scene, and of course the stuff doing with Barry Allen last, I'll say 90s Flash, of him being the warning from the future kind of thing. This whole crossover is nothing but a 3-part prologue for next year's, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is awesome. It's an awesome, me as a comic book guy and knowing how big and epic Crisis on Infinite Earth is, you get chills on that, but you realize this is the setup. This is us, and I think it's not for superhero audiences or the comic book fans. This crossover is meant to be us getting accustomed by the concept of Crisis on Infinite Earths to, I'll say, the CW crowd who watches these shows. The idea of like, hey, you're gonna see different versions of Flash and Green Arrow and Superman and Supergirl and all these other characters. I think this crossover is just us getting used to that. And comic fans and superhero fans are probably used to that, but you got that small minority and the general public minority who are like, this could easily, you're on board, you're not, kind of thing. But with this crossover, we see Superman in a black suit with no mullet, sad face, but Superman in a black costume is fucking awesome, I won't lie. And him, and I would say this, Tyler Hoechlin, I think, plays a better evil Superman than him playing regular Superman. I really like him as Superman, as a regular classic Boy Scout. But it's something about him playing this version of it. It just this gave us more weight and gravitas towards it that I found was kind of neat, very cool. And of course you got Oliver still proving the point. Like, I will say this, if someone says to you, Green Arrow is pretty much Batman of this universe, and you say, no he isn't, I'll be like, hello, Kryptonite Arrow, basically him talking to the mother, like, that's is pretty much a very Batman thing to do, sorry. Like, I don't know what, and here's the thing, with the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, I think immediately this proves my point. This season's the final season now. I think this is going to be, Crisis on Infinite Earths is going to be the death of Oliver Queen. I do think that. And, it's going to be interesting because, Oliver doesn't show up in any of the flash forward scenes in now this season, so, it kind of gives you a perspective of it. But, it's just a nice little wrap up. You got a Superman the movie reference with the whole spinning the earth backwards, which is like, these guys, the showrunners of these shows like to, throw scenes from the past and all that. And we see Ruby Rose as Batwoman, which I think still proves my point. She's a great Batwoman, but at this point, I think she needs to work on, if things go well and the TV show does well, I think she needs to prove more her Kath Kane. But as Batwoman, she's fucking amazing, really. Now, the big thing, and this is basically going to be me yapping about Superman a lot. The last, I'll say, 3 minutes is basically explaining for X amount of time why Superman isn't going to show up. Him saying he's hanging up the cape because he's married to he opposes, but he is him and Lois are going to have a baby, which is awesome and great, and so, and of course immediately I said to myself, Jonathan, because in the comics they have a kid and you have a super son, and his name was Jonathan Kent, But immediately with the marriage proposal, which I think could be the best Superman scene in the entire crossover, when he opposes the Lois, I believe there might be a possibility that we might get a bit of a crisis. Sorry, not crisis, but a injustice. Maybe not fully injustice. Justice Gods Among Us, with the whole evil Superman and the evil dictator. I mean, they kind of did the in this episode with him, the evil Superman taking over Star Labs. But I have a feeling they might do that while killing Lois off. And then maybe have a different Superman, but not a completely a different Superman, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you don't know what the Injustice storyline is, that Lois gets pregnant. Lois gets pregnant, but the Joker kidnaps her, gasses Superman with the Scarecrow's fear toxin, thinking Superman thinks Lois is Doomsday, so lifts and accidentally kills her, which of course spawns the amalgam events of Superman becoming evil dictator. So that's what it is. But yeah, it's a possibility. Some people might say that nah, and yeah, some people who me explaining that story to you, maybe some people don't want that Superman that they see on Supergirl turning into that version. They even hint at it in BBS a little bit. So yeah, I think this is the second worst, but still fun, still cool moments, like the Smallville moment in part one. But yeah, this is basically a prologue for Crisis of Infinite Earths next year.